In this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate how to create a custom header using the WordPress Full Site Editor. As with any design project, you should design your header before attempting to build it in WordPress. WordPress is not a design tool, it's an implementation tool. In this case, I designed my website using PowerPoint. Once I have my design, I identify which part of the design is the header. Most WordPress sites have one header for the entire site. Once you've identified the header, then you need to identify the component parts of that header. In this case, I have a site logo, navigation, and a thin blue line that serves as a divider between the header and the body of the website. Next, I'm going to look at the structure of the header and determine how it might be divided up into rows and columns. One final step before beginning implementation is to identify the color scheme for the site, specifically the hex values for any colors you need, any graphic files you need, information about the fonts you're using, and a list of pages needed to create the navigation menu. In WordPress, I add the required graphics to the media library. I add any required plugins. In this case, I'm using a Google font plugin. After adding the font plugin, I use the customizer to change the navigation font to the Barstow Condensed to align with my design. Finally, I add a page for each item in my menu. Now that I've done all of the preparation, I'm ready to begin using the Full Site Editor to create a custom template part that will align with my custom header. To enter the Full Site Editor, click Appearance and then Editor. When the Full Site Editor opens, it begins by showing the home page. For this tutorial, we want to create a new template part that is a header. Click the site icon in the top left corner. If you haven't set a site icon, this will be the WordPress icon. This displays the editor menu. Next, click Template Parts. Here you see the template parts that exist for your current theme. We are going to create a new template part. Click Add in the upper right corner. Select Header, type the name of your new template part, and then click Create. You now have a blank header. Clicking the list view icon shows that we have an empty header. The elements required for my header will be the row block, which I will use twice, and the site icon block and the navigation block. I begin by adding the row block and then adding my site icon inside the row. Then I add a navigation block. I check that my navigation block is inside my row block. I select the row block and then set it to space between items, which causes the logo to be on the left and the menu to be on the right. I click the site logo and then select my logo from the media library. I'd like my logo to be a little bit bigger, so I click and drag to resize it. I also align the items to the bottom of the row rather than the center. Next, I go to the list view and collapse the row. I open the block library and add a new row block. I'll use this new row block to create the blue line that separates my menu from my main page content. I edit the bottom row block to add a 1 pixel top border. In addition, I set the border to be the blue that aligns with my theme. Now let's save the template part and see how that looks. Before we can do that, I need to first add it to a page template. I click the site icon menu and open up the template library. Here I see a list of all the types of pages that exist within my theme. I'm going to edit the home page, which is the default landing page for the theme. I see that there is a header here already, so I delete that header. To add my new header, I need to add a template part. This gets added to the bottom of the screen, so I need to scroll down and select Choose. I can see my new heading template listed, so I click it. My header is added to the bottom of the page, so I use the movement arrow to move it up to the top. Then I click Save. Let's see how this looks. I see my new header, but the logo and menu are on the edges of the page rather than aligning with the width of my website content. To edit the header from here, I click the Edit Site from the admin bar. From the page editor, I select the header and then click Edit. This brings me back into the custom header in the template part editor. I select both rows and then add them to a group. The group allows me to set the page width to align with the width of my site, in this case, 1200 pixels. Before finishing here, I'd like to fix the navigation menu to be in all uppercase. I select the navigation block and scroll down to the typography menu. Clicking the 3 dots shows me an option called letter case. I enable that and then change the case to all uppercase. Now I want to add a little padding so that my logo and menu are not right at the edge. I break the link for padding and then edit the right and left padding to be 20 pixels. Now I want to remove the space between the logo and the blue bar page separator. First I select the first row and open the margin. Then I break the link that allows each margin to be different. I set the bottom margin to be 0. I then select the lower row and open the margin for that row. I break the link and then set the top margin to be 0. Now I save my custom header and click back to go back to the template page. Then click View Site to see what my header looks like. I now have a header that looks like the header in my design. In order for it to be the same header on all pages on my website, I need to repeat the process of removing the original header and adding my custom header to each type of page. That concludes this demo. If you like my demos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.